So it's Toto again. Toto, Africa, stuck in my head this morning. Popped right when the alarm went off. I feel the rains down in Africa. You know, it's more the guitar riff than the lyrics that get stuck in my head, because it's got that kind of dark guitar riff. It goes, I don't know how it goes, but it's like it's rough. Like that song it sounds in opposition to the song. Oh no, it's the part that goes dun dun dun. Man, I can't remember how it goes. That's a weird part of getting a song stuck in my head in particular, is that I can't usually say it. I can just hear it. So I can't, like, I can, what do you say, like scat out a Slayer song or something that I know real well, but not the song that's like literally playing in my head right now. But it's the part after the chorus line where it gets kind of dark. It goes dun 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 dun. I don't know how it fucking goes. It doesn't even matter, man. That's a weird song. I tried to get a song stuck in my head yesterday and it didn't work. I heard a song on the radio. I was going to buy tacos. No, I was coming back from buying tacos, and I heard a song on the radio, and I was like, "Oh shit, that's cool." Like I had heard it before, but I didn't really know it. Maybe like I heard it once or twice, but then I heard it on the radio. I was like, "Oh, that's cool. Hell yeah. That's got some funk to it." I can't even remember how it goes. It's like, it was real poppy though. I was like, "Oh man, this is going right in the bank if I listen to it." But it probably still did. It's probably just not popped up yet. Like in a couple of days or a couple of weeks, when I've totally forgotten it, it'll come up and then it'll be there for a month. Like right when I wake up in the morning, it'll be just blaring in my skull, inside my skull. It's like in the Sugar Frosted Nutsack, that book by Mark Leyner. If you've never read the Sugar Frosted Nutsack, what are we even doing? I mean, come on, let's get it together. This is a serious piece of American, just fucking literature, just balls to the grindstone, crazy American postmodern fucking psychotic craziness. This is like 2012 madness, just all wrapped up into one big old nasty, crazy, insane thing. It's okay. Sugar Frosted Nutsack, Mark Leyner. Run out and buy it. If you want to do yourself a huge favor, go get the audio book. Rent it from the library, man. Does anybody remember that libraries exist? The libraries are a thing. You can get audio books. They have a whole library full of Kindle type books, ebooks. Put them right on your phone. You just download the Overdrive. Come on, man. This is an ad for Overdrive right now. It's free. Get it, kid. Overdrive has it's got tons. That's where I listen to most of my audiobooks. I get a lot of books off of there, man. It is a good thing. And then Angela, she reads the ebooks constantly. She's reading like at least 3 or 4 books a week. She is in deep, son, in deep. So go to your local library, support your local. Come on, don't buy books. No, those people don't deserve your money. Go to the library. God damn it, go to the library. Don't buy books. I was reading about some government somewhere that will buy, if a person writes a book and a small publishing house puts it out or whatever, the government will buy 1,000 copies of the book and give it to libraries just to keep those small publishing houses in business. I don't know. It sounds good. Because we just got a couple of real big ones here, and then even the small ones want to act like big ones, That sounded jaded. I've queried like 8 different publishing places and there's it's a lot of silence from them. So I'm all jaded and shit. I'm like, oh, poor little me. I can't get it out there. Anyway, Sugar Frosted Nutsack. Check it out at your local library on audiobook is the best way. It's written as a what do you call it? As a vocally, no, not vocally. It's written as a narrative that you would tell to somebody, that it was less to be read and more to be heard. It's like actually written that way. And so the writer, Mark Leyner, he reads it, and he reads it really well because he knows all the nuance, obviously, and he's a pretty goofy ass weirdo reader. So anyway, it comes across like it's supposed to be told. It's in, oh man, I almost had it. He has a very specific line for it, but that is a book that I've revisited more times than any other book. I've listened to it at least 10 times all the way through, at least 10 times, and I've read it at least twice. Like literally looked at the words at least twice. So you're talking like 12 times, and that is what do you call that? What would you call it? Voluntary. Those voluntary read-throughs and listen-throughs. So that's a lot of time to put in. I enjoyed it every time. It is such a weird, funny, crazy book. It's a new pantheon of gods and their involvement with one man and his family and one day of his life and all this different stuff. And it's fucking cool, man. It's if you like weird books, if you think you like weird books and you've never read that one, do it, dude. Do everybody a favor. This is the kind of art that I read that book. There's been a few books in my life that have changed the way that I see literature and what you can do with writing. And I've read a lot of books, all right? I'm not one of these fucking Johnny fly-by-nights spouting shit. I like books. I like reading. I started reading when I was young, and I kept reading. I've kept reading. Like so I started listening at some point. So I don't read much anymore, but I listen, and that's where I really feel like I've started to get more comprehension of what's going on. Like with reading, it's good, but listening, it feels better. It feels like it works better for me because I'm able to get into a zone where my brain becomes like mushified. If I'm reading a book, I have to you got to set aside time and sit down and put your attention on a book, which is bullshit, dude. It's like doing a movie. You got to sit down and watch it, you know? But with an audiobook, I can still do stuff. I can draw, I can work. I can work on a car, clean up. I can do anything I want. And it lets my brain get to that soft spot where stuff can sink in, where I can have some lower level comprehension as opposed to the higher level sort of, whatever, where, man, my brain starts screaming if I'm sitting too long or I just fall asleep. That's a true and present danger these days. I'll just sit and grab a book and fall asleep in the first 2-3 pages. But so back to what I was talking about, this song. I get a song. Okay, so Ike Carton is the main character from the Sugar Frosted Nutsack, and don't let the title fuck with you either. The title fucked with me. I kept seeing it and I was like, nah, I'm not gonna read that piece of shit. That's so weird. That's the title of the book. That's the title of the epic inside the book. The epic that the book concerns itself with. It's called the Sugar Frosted Nutsack. So it's the title of the book, but it's also the title of the book. So it's not really the title of the book. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's it hung me up for a while. I was like, this sounds stupid. I don't want any part of it. I'm not getting into it. And then I totally got into it. And I was like, well, the first time I read it, I was like, what the fuck is this? It took such a... I think I almost finished the book before I started to realize what was happening, kind of. It's crazy. So Ike Carton is the hero of the hero of the Sugar Frosted Nutsack, and he has the Mr. Frosty jingle, which is like an ice cream truck jingle, stuck in his head. But it's always in there and it's always playing, but it's not stuck like it's stuck in his head. It's stuck like if you put your ear up to his head, you would hear it playing because it's playing inside of his head. That's what I feel like. Toto's Africa is playing in my head, and if you put a stethoscope up to the side of my head, you would hear that song playing. That's how good it's playing inside my head, but I can't recreate it on my mouth instrument. Like, I can't give you the dun dun dun, that part that I'm talking about where the guitar gets all dark, after this kind of uplifting chorus. So the lyric is kind of uplifting. The other part I don't like about that song is that song in general, and a lot of songs these days, is I was watching this movie called I don't know what it's called, Hitman or something like that, or something like that. Shit, that's crazy. I totally forgot. It's something like that, like a Hitman or something. It's on Netflix, and it's a movie about studio musicians. And these are musicians who come in to help a band, and so this band maybe doesn't have a whole band, it's just a couple of dudes, or they're gonna go out on tour and they need some extra people, or they're in the studio and they need somebody to come in and sort of help them get some music going, and so sometimes these guys write whole songs, sometimes they write a little bit of lyrics, sometimes they'll write a guitar riff or a drum line, but these are master fucking musicians. These dudes are the business, these motherfuckers know what they're doing. So you get them in there and you say, hey, I need a cool riff in an A minor, G sustain. I don't know how that how the jargon goes, but then they rock out a riff, and a lot of really famous stuff that you would recognize forever was written by these studio musicians. And the way that it works usually is a studio musician gets paid by the session. So instead of getting any kind of back end royalties on a song, they get paid, $500-600 to come in and sit for a few hours and jam out, and then get sent on their way. And so this dude wrote that song, the whole fucking song, and was like, hey, here's a song, I don't know, maybe it'll fit your aesthetic, to Toto. And they were like, oh yeah, that's cool, let's jam with that song. And so they jammed out the song. He played the guitars. I think he might have even sang on the track, man. He did a lot though, but he definitely laid down the guitar. So it's, when you hear that song, it's him playing. Every single time you hear that song, it's him playing. And yeah, he got paid for that session and then never paid again. You know what I mean? And it gets nasty too. There was a dude on there that was the drummer, for for Billy Joel. I think it was Billy Joel. No, not Billy Joel. It was John Mellencamp, right? So that's the one, not John Mellencamp. Yeah, maybe John Mellencamp. It's a little ditty about Jack and Diane. Two American kids growing up in the heartland. That song, he played the drums on it. He came up with that drum line that do 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 do. Take a little rock, let it roll. Now I'm gonna have that fucking song stuck in my head for a month. So he came up with that drum line, that crazy cool slow drum line for that song. I mean, obviously the drums for the whole song, but that little break in the middle that sort of makes the song. You know, it's kind of like that drum break from the Phil Collins song. It's like, oh yeah, it's super iconic. Whoa. When it comes up, it's like, it hits. It makes the song go, to that next level kind of. But not only that, he came up with all the drums for 30 years. And he played on tour with the guy and everything. And then after 30 years, he was like, hey man, could I get a raise? And then he got fired. Instantly afterwards, he got fired because he asked for a raise. Asked for some more money, man. After 30 fucking years, you're shut down. God damn, that is rock and roll, Johnny Mellencamp. I'm not sure if it is him. It might have been somebody else, but that was a crazy movie. I wish I could remember the title of it. I wish there was some sort of device that was available that I could look it up and it had all the information sort of in one place, and it connected everybody, and you could just sort of put in any sort of vague thing, you know, that would and it would direct you to that information, and you could find it. It's called Hired Guns. I looked it up on my phone while I was rambling. Hired Guns. That's like Hitman kind of, but it's a crazy documentary. And that dude from Filter is a dick, son. That guy is an unabashed dick. I thought it was a joke when they started talking. I thought he was making a joke, but he was talking about how bad Trent Reznor treated him as a studio musician, and then he just segued right into how bad he treats his own studio musicians in Filter. It was horrible. I was like, fuck, man, this guy's a prick, dude. That is crazy. What an asshole. There was that movie Inside Llewellyn Davis. That was a Coen Brothers movie, and it was about a folk singer with Isaac. What was that guy's name? Oscar Isaac, the dude that played Apocalypse in the X-Men movies. So weird. Actors be acting, man. Actors be acting. That's what they be doing. But that was a great movie. I like that movie a lot. But it had a bunch of different people in it. I mean, Coen Brothers, they're pretty solid. I didn't care for that Caesar movie with Channing Tatum. I didn't care for that one. Hail Caesar, I think it was called. With, I mean, it was all right, but I felt like I was meant to be more entertained by it than I was. And it was the opposite of Llewellyn Davis. That movie felt like it didn't give a fuck what I was thinking. I like that. I like it when I'm barely even thought of in the whole creative process, or I feel like I'm barely thought of or considered. I don't know. I like that a lot. But in that movie, he does a studio sesh with Justin Timberlake. I mean, it's not Justin Timberlake in the movie, obviously, but it's Justin Timberlake playing a character. That's how it works. That's how acting works, even when you're an actual musician. But he did a studio session with him and Adam Driver, doing a great little role there. Goofy ass motherfucker. That guy's cool. I don't know. That guy's cool as fuck, I think. He's one of those new actors that's going to be a big deal. I mean, already is a huge deal, but it's going to be like probably a Brad Pitt status actor eventually. It's crazy when you see those guys coming up, you know. Like Channing Tatum is kind of in that zone. He just sort of popped up out of nowhere, and then all of a sudden, here he is. He's everywhere. He can do everything. Look at him go. Wind him up. Watch him go. But they did that his studio set. So it was like, you want your royalties, or do you want $50. And he's like, well, I want the $50 now. Give me the $50, because he's broke as fuck. He's out there, and he just showed up and played this fucking dumb song about landing on the moon and stuff. And it's just goofy as shit. And he's like, it's never going to be anything. That was a horrible song. I don't want royalties on that piece of shit. And then, like later in the movie, the song is playing on the radio. It's a #1 hit. Fucking everybody loves it. He's like, are you serious? Are you serious right now? God damn it. It's like gambling. They don't do that with McDonald's where it's like, hey, you want to show up to work and we'll either pay you per hour or you get a little on the back end. You get a 1/16 of a penny for every Big Mac we sell or something like that, Nope. You just get what you get, and who knows, maybe see, that would be an easy bet. You'd be like, oh, hell yeah, give me the Big Mac money, kid. Let's do this. That's an easy bet, but art is so subjective that you can't predict. I mean, you can predict if something's going to be successful by the backing that it has. So you can sort of cheat with art. They say you can't really cheat with sports. You can obviously cheat with sports. Like you get somebody to throw a game or play like shit, or you try to figure out some information, but it's always like you never really know what's going to happen. Like that Conor McGregor and what was that other guy, Floyd Mayweather fight? It was like, there's a chance. There's the slightest chance that he's going to win. And there's other people that are like, nah, there's no chance at all. But there's always that little kind of niggle in the background where it's like, maybe. But then if you put enough money behind an art project, then it's going to do something. I mean, there's all these kind of fail safes for art too. So most big movies these days are structured like corporations. So they're insured up the ass. So they're insured against failure. So it's not even the studio that's taking a hit. The movie itself is an actual corporation outside of the studio. So the studio doesn't give a fuck. If that movie fails, they get insurance payoffs and stuff. And they do that with people too. Walmart famously got found out for putting life insurance policies on its workers. So just as regular, average Joe Schmo would be sitting there, coming in, being the greeter. Hey, how's it going? That dude at the door. God, I've always wanted that job. Seems perfect. You don't have to do shit. It's not perfect. That would be a terrible job. I want one of those motel jobs where you sit there at night and nobody shows up and you just play Nintendo 64. This might be an outdated thing, but play some Nintendo 64 all night. It's like a security job overnight, where nothing ever happens. You just sit there and do some typing or something. That's as close as I figured that I'll get to getting paid for making art is if I find a job where it only requires my attention for a couple hours a day, and then I have several hours to and then I get that hourly wage for making art. That's pretty rough. That's a pretty rough outlook, Dirk. Come on, Dirk. You can do better than that. What are we talking about? Movies. Oh yeah, Walmart. That's regular dude. Every person that worked there, they had a life insurance policy. The corporation took a life insurance policy out on those people. So when those people died, they got a payoff. That's creepy, isn't it? That's fucked up, dude. That's a fucking weird. That's like having, I don't know, because Walmart drives your ass to die. I know, okay, so I've known two people that worked for Walmart. Both of them said it was not wonderful. One dude, a buddy of mine back in the day, his mind instantly went to work in the system. He's like, how can I do this? How can I work this system? Because he was a numbers guy, right? So he got this 10% discount from the store, which isn't much. It's not very much. But if you take your 10% discount and you go to the Black Friday sale, which he had access to an hour before anybody else did because he worked overnights. So he had access to it because this is backwoods ass Colville, small town Walmart, right? So he had access to this thing. So he would take a couple paychecks, entire paychecks, right? And he would get his discount and he would buy all this crazy shit. And first off, you eBay that stuff. Like, this is like Xbox 360s and stuff, you know? So you're getting a 10% discount plus the Black Friday, and then wait a couple of months or wait a month and throw it up on eBay, and bam, people are buying that shit. He's making that money. But the other thing he would do was he would take his whole paycheck and he would spend it and get that discount and then go return all the shit at a different Walmart in Spokane and then get the the full price back. It's crazy. He did all sorts of crazy shit, man. I don't know how that worked out, but he had it worked out where it was going. It doesn't make sense in my head. Like, if you spent $600, you make $60 on it, but he had it figured out to where he was making it was making it worth it, you know, which is weird. I can't remember what it was. It was something about, like, he would return the stuff without receipts. So then you would get a gift card, and it was something about the gift card that made it like more money than it actually is. You know, I don't know what it was. That was weird. He's smart though. Smart dude. That's what you got to do. As soon as you get in, you try to figure out how to pimp the system. Take yours off the top like a politician. Tax-free money out the register. Yeah. That's a Dead Prez. I butchered those lyrics. Butchered them. But I like it. I like hearing when somebody brings up Dead Prez in any fuck. My brain stopped working there in any kind of capacity, because that dude, that group, those peeps, that was some crazy shit, man. They weren't talking about blinging, and does anybody talk about fucking blinging anymore? But anyway, they weren't talking about excess. You know, they were talking about living on the cheap. You know, starving, being in poverty, and they were talking about getting ready for battle and stuff, and taking care of yourself, and all this different shit. It was really cool. It's a different kind of hip hop kind of thing, you know. I wish that aesthetic would have caught on a little bit more. Maybe it has. Maybe I'm just not looking in the right place. Maybe I'm looking too much at fucking Kanye West dressed up in a Perrier bottle, dancing around like a fucking dildo. Jesus Christ, what the fuck was that? Okay, if I was a conspiracy minded, hey, welcome to the Face Off Podcast, where we talk about everything except Face Off. This is fine. It's fine here. This is a non-canonical bonus episode, part 2, number 2 in this thing. The non-canonical bonus episode number 2 of the Face Off Podcast. And I'm here. My name's Derek, by the way. If you're just coming in and you're like, what the fuck is this? Who is this asshole? My name is Derek Schoonover. I live in Spokane, Washington. I work here. I've been here for way too long. It's only been just over a year and a half now, but that is too long. I used to live here, moved away for a long time, come back, and I'm ready to move out again. I don't know why I'm telling you all this stuff. It probably doesn't matter at all. Anyway, this is the Face Off Podcast. This is a non-canonical bonus episode number 2. Thanks for being here. It's so nice to have you here and have your attention. I feed on it. I'm a psychic vampire from a different dimension, and I feed on attention. It's an attention dimension where all that we need is somebody's ear holes perked up and pointed this way, and then I'm sucking those brain waves right out of your brain hole and creating energy for my people. My little teeny tiny people. I'm reading Gulliver's Travels right now. Throw a classic in here and there. I never read it before. I heard there's some crazy sex parties at the end that they usually leave out because they kind of try to make it a kid's story, which I don't see how the fuck they make this movie or this book a kid's story besides taking everything that it's about out and just leaving in the tiny people and the big people, because it goes hard pretty much right away. Not really, I guess. It's because he finds a land full of small people first, and then he finds a land full of big people, and it gets a little bit weird because they just play with him, and all this stuff. And anyway, I haven't gotten to the part with the horse orgies and stuff like that I hear are going to have. I mean, that's why I'm reading it, if I'm being honest. I want to see what this is all about. The machine clouds and horse orgies and stuff. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'll keep you updated. But it's pretty much a political satire, like those Star Wars prequels were super political. And what was that all about? I think it was good. I think people complain. They're like, what, these are kids' movies with all these politics? What are you talking about? This is stupid. What the fuck do kids need to know about politics? So I think you should start. The kids should know about what's going. I mean, that might have been one of the places where most like kids growing up in that time got some idea of politics from, and how it's a nasty, cutthroat, disgusting business filled with pukes that put on a front and all this shit, and basically just there to exist until it's taken over by somebody who's got the balls to just destroy everything that it seemed to stand for and start something crazy and new that it's basically been leading towards since its inception. It's that's what I see. That's what I see politics as. So speaking of politics, it feels like this Kanye West, if I was a conspiracy minded person, and luckily for everybody I'm not, I'm just your average Joe. I don't see patterns in everything. These are all lies. I absolutely see patterns everywhere. I think it was the last episode I talked at length about lizard people, reptilians, that I wish I had I wish that what I was saying was hyperbole. I wish I was making it up, but I really broke it down. I'm about 70% positive that there is such thing as shape-shifting reptilian overlords. If you want to get into it, we have talked extensively about my understanding of the simulation theory, and also my extrapolations onto that have no basis in anybody else's shit, which includes giant squid monsters with tentacle anuses and VR suppositories and all sorts of crazy business, Illuminati controlled avatars that are real when we're just non-playable characters, which we'll loop back around to. I got some new insights on that I've been thinking about a little bit. It's crazy when you actually talk to another human being and you're able to add your insights to their insights and make more insights, as opposed to just, eating your own shit and then shitting back out your shit that's made up of the shit that you ate, which it's fun, obviously. That's great. And you can, set up a podcast and put it out there that's just you eating your own shit and then shitting out the shit that's made up of your shit. But who would do it? Why would anybody do that? It doesn't make any sense at all. So if I was conspiracy minded, I would say that Kanye West going on to one of the suddenly revitalized in the last couple of years platforms, political comedy commentary platforms, going out on this thing and doing some of the most buffoonery ass shit that anybody's ever seen in their life. Anybody is a direct response to the Kavanaugh hearings that nobody seemed happy with. Nobody on either side. Everybody was pissed off about. It was really bad. I mean, that was a funk. I'm not even a political person, and I watched that and I was like, oh shit, this is a drain on the psychic functioning of this entire country. Anybody that watches this is at risk for being turned into a psychic husk, and left just dangling in the sun, just a corn husk of nothingness left dangling in the sun and just feeling empty, no matter what side you're on. And that's a hard thing to look at, because I know my whole social media feed is all fucking liberal comics, and that's just because I got into comedy a little bit, and then you connect through all these social medias, and pretty much every comedian is at least liberal minded. I would consider myself slightly more liberal. I would honestly, so somebody else would probably would consider me to be liberal. I don't consider myself to be liberal at all, because that's a fucking retarded thing to do. Right wing, left wing, it's all bullshit to me. I'm 100% against all of it. I hate everybody that considers himself to be either one of those things. I think that whole system should be firebombed down to the fucking foundation, and you start over completely fresh. 100%. Chris Rock had a line where he said, right wing, left wing, anybody who makes a decision before considering the facts is a fool. And that's it. That's fundamental. You might lean this way, you might lean that way, but there is information that needs to be considered. Anyway, I don't even think that. I think fuck them all. I think it's a disease. I hate it. It drives me completely insane to even think about it. But that could be just laziness. That's totally plausible. So when so anybody who's watching this, so if as a left-wing person, as a left-leaning person, you watch this and say, how could anybody see this differently than what it is? This guy is clearly a rapist. 100%. This guy is definitely raping something, man. It has been, there's no way about it. There's no two ways about it. This is an angry man who likes to rape. You can see it. It's totally clear. And then the right hand side looks at it and goes, who is this woman? She's ruining this guy's life. She's clearly some attention-seeking whore is what's happening here. This is totally clear. If it's not clear to everybody, how can it be? So, but neither of those people see it from the other side's perspective, and it just creates this chaos. It creates a cognitive dissonance. Because you're like, how is this even possible? I don't understand. The world is not what I thought it was. And it creates a softness of the brain too. And so everybody's got their attention on it. And then here comes Kanye. Little sweetie pie Kanye comes dancing out in some fucking Perrier costume to the dumbest fucking song I've ever heard in my life. I give Kanye a chance every single time. I don't know why. And I get whoopty scoop, poopty scoop, whoopty scoop, and then I get a fucking Perrier costume. Give me a goddamn break. The reason why I give Kanye a chance is a song called Monster from My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, which was like, oh, that's a dope track. Maybe, I don't know. That's why I give him a chance. And people say, hey, this guy's a genius. People who I like, artists that I like are like, yeah, look at this motherfucker go. So I give him a chance every time something comes out. I'm like, oh, check it out. Yeah, no, it's terrible. It's still terrible. And then this shit, it looks like a distraction. And suddenly Kanye West, who's way more popular than this Dr. Ford and this Judge Kavanaugh, this doctor and this judge. God damn, could you think of a more boring wrestling match to watch? Hey, it's a doctor and a judge, and they're gonna, gross. But Kanye West, whose popularity it outranks the popularity of Dr. Ford and Judge Kavanaugh by such a huge degree that it's like they're not even on the same scale. They're completely different things. So Saturday Night Live puts Kanye West in as a replacement guest, right just ahead of Showtime or whatever. And it's probably huge for Saturday Night Live. Not huge for Kanye. He didn't give a fuck. That guy's got a gigantic following. It's ridiculous. Goddamn ridiculous. So we have the Perrier dance and then the crazy, not fucking whatever. I won't say crazy. I'll say incoherent rant at the end about Donald Trump and all this shit. Can you really, that was definitely, that seems like if I was conspiracy minded, I would say that's a serious distraction from this Kavanaugh case, which I just hate saying that name, Kavanaugh. That sounds like the Kavanaugh. It reminds me of caviar. It reminds me of like caves for some reason. Just the sound of it, like Kavanaugh, like a deep cave with wine cellars in it and stuff. I fucking hate that guy. I hate this whole thing. It drives me nuts. But that seems like a distraction. And if you aren't conspiracy minded, you don't necessarily look for distractions everywhere. You don't look for, what's going on underneath what you're being shown. But I do. I have a tendency to do that, even if it's nothing, even if there's nothing there. I like study potato chip wrappers. I'm like, what does it mean? I like the guy, the Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Richard Dreyfuss, with the mashed potatoes. I'm like, what does it even mean? I'm like that with Richard Dreyfuss's career. I got it in my fingers, and I'm looking at it like, what does this even mean? Who is this person, Richard Dreyfuss? What is he? What makes him tick? Where is he? What's going on? Is he still around? Steven Spielberg's career. What is going on with that guy, man? Why is he making all these movies? How does that work? Let's figure it out. And I still don't know anything. My life's in shambles. It's pure madness. Oh, good crazy. Good crazy. Good craziness. Good craziness. No new developments face-off wise. Started watching Mad Max Fury Road. I've seen it before partially, but I think it was a different person back then. It was kind of when it first came out. It's a very weird movie. Something about the voices that I don't really like, but who cares? It's pretty exciting, strange. I like that the camera doesn't shake around a lot. There's big epic shots. Really pretty interesting. I know this is a really hot take on like a 3-4 year old movie, but that's what you get when you come to the Face Off podcast. So I'm about halfway through. I think I'm going to check that out. Thanks for hanging out today. This non-canonical bonus episode. I just like saying canonical. It's a good word, like perpetuity or I don't know, some other words. What's another good word? Ecclesiastic. That's a good word. There's a bunch of them. I don't know if you know, but there's a lot of words out there, and some of them are quite good. Anyway, hope this was a distraction. You know, not much coming out of here, I don't think. We'll get more into the simulation, the continuing simulation theory saga on Friday. That's more of a daytime. This is nighttime, by the way. This is 2:50 a.m. Waking up at midnight, taking the break, taking the day off. The Friday one is more in the middle of the day. It's a little more excitable, you know, jibber jabbery and all that stuff. Anyway, this is just too much. It's already too much. I hope there was something here. It was a good distraction, a little bit of fun. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. Have a great life. This is the Face Off Podcast. We're back again. This is Trials and Tribulations, a Non-Canonical episode number 2. I'm doing this is experimental as fuck and probably dangerous as fuck too. It doesn't feel too bad because if you notice the noise, or if you're watching the video, obviously, I'm in the car. I'm in a car. This is not my car. That's not the experimental part of this particular podcast. This podcast has been all over the place, man. I don't know if I'm leaving all the 3 different iterations in, but there's at least 2. Started off, we'll call it BT and AT. That's before taco, BTB, before taco breakfast and after taco breakfast. I don't even know if this will be listenable, really, because it's got the car in the background. It's fucking annoying usually anytime I've heard it. But maybe I'm just really good at stuff, or I just don't care about my life. So so I'll put my life and other people's life in more danger, distracting myself whilst driving down busy streets like a fucking maniac. I don't drive too bad because I don't have a driver's license or insurance. So I try to drive good. I try to keep it steady, you know, on the mic here. But we'll see if this works out or if I'm just talking to myself. It seems to be leveling out okay. Now that grinding motor in the background should probably not be too bad. Too bad, you know. It is popping up some bars though. But anyway, this is an experiment trying to see if I can use some of this fucking time driving all across town. It's so annoying. I hate driving across town because you don't actually go anywhere. I don't mind taking a 40-minute drive somewhere and then that being a destination and being there for a little while, you know. But fucking 20 minutes one way, stop for a few minutes, or in this case a lot of minutes, and then 20 minutes back, that's just 40 wasted minutes, dude. It's a pain in the ass. You can't do anything. You listen to music or a podcast or a book or something, but I'm always by myself. Never anybody to talk to. It's fucking dumb. I'm going to do plasma right now. If you don't do plasma, you're probably smart, because it sucks. I fucking hate doing it. It's all the way across town, and you get some money, but I kind of feel like shit afterwards usually. So it's a little rough, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do to make that fucking money, man. Gonna pull that money through the old keyhole somehow and get paid. Anyway, back here again. We were talking. This is quickly turning into the conspiracy podcast, the conspiracy theory, simulation theory podcast. So if you're getting tired of simulation theory, I'm probably pretty much out of steam on it. I got a couple of new ideas. It's one of those things, I get hooked on ideas in my head and I'm like, ooh, what about this? What about that? Let's is there any other place to take this idea, you know? And the simulation theory is cool because for me it's cool because it encompasses everything. And I like ideas that encompass everything. I think that's cool. Because then you start going, well, what about this? How does this fit in? And it can be anything. Or like donuts. How does donuts fit in? How does electing Dennis Cronin for Superior Court Judge Position 10 fit in? How does Chuck and Josh Porter, the Simple Wealth Solution, how do they fit in? How does this big tractor fit in? How do the Spokane Chiefs fit in? How does Girl Scouts and 7-Eleven and the detour sign, how do those all fucking fit in? How do the roads and all these trucks in Spokane, how do them shits fit in, huh? Buddy? Huh? And the answer is, I don't know. We just got to work it out. I mean, I just named off a lot of things, but I guess I was just trying to make a point. Like, I could just endlessly come up with things to try to figure out how it fits in. Like, I'm never going to come up dry on something. There's always something because it's everything. And everything is more than no thing. It's right there in the words. There's 2 syllables in no thing. Nothing. Nothing. In everything, there's many more syllables. Everything. That's a lot more because everything's inside of there. Basic, if you're just tuning in for the first time, welcome and thank you. And what terrible choices have you made in your life to end up here with me driving to do plasma? I wish you were here with me driving to do plasma. I would enjoy that for probably 10 minutes. Maybe if you rode with me here and then got out of the car and left, that would be about the right amount of time for me to be over it and just want to go back to being alone. It's pretty much the perfect amount of time, 20 minutes or so. I don't know if it's even going to take 20 minutes. This feels like it's not taking any time at all. Every single time I drive here, it takes fucking forever, it seems like. And this time, barely any time at all has passed. But, okay, so back to this simulation theory here. So if you're joining us for the first time here, there's an idea that this is a simulation that we live in. And the idea that I have is that this is a really highly advanced sort of video game thing that we live in, and it's played by creatures in the far-flung future, what we would call the future, what is actually the present. And they're huge. Like the idea that just popped into my head, I'm just gonna run with it. They're huge, multi-tentacled, multi-headed squid monster things with anuses at the end of each one of their 40 tentacles, and they have these crazy like virtual reality suppositories that they have to insert in order to become avatars in this world. And in this world, their avatars are what we would call like Illuminati or reptilian shapeshifters, you know, those weirdos that seem to have something figured out that the rest of us don't. And we are just highly programmed, non-playable characters, right? Okay, so here we are. And what's happening here is we're seeing these Illuminati fucking squid scumbags sucking up all the resources, which is exactly what I do when I play a regular video game. I go in and I kill everybody and I suck up all the resources. I get those coins, man. I'm motherfucking Mario Brothers, son. I'm getting those fucking coins, kid. And I'm a bad person when I go in there. When I put on that virtual mask, I'm a bad mamma jamma. So yeah, when they play, they play like for keeps, like a Warren Buffett, like Vladimir Putin, you know, a Donald Trump. These guys are all getting their shits and giggles. Okay, so that was last week. We rambled on about that for a little while. I had some new ideas that help support this evidence in no way whatsoever. It just makes it more entertaining for me. And first and foremost is those four-headed or multi-headed 40-tentacled squid monsters with anus tentacles or tentacle anuses. Those are two different things. Anus tentacles and tentacle anuses. Two completely different things. Alright, these are tentacle anuses. That's just multiple anuses. Well, one anus on the end of each tentacle, into which a virtual reality suppository needs to be placed in order for them to fully immerse themselves in this world. And okay, so that image popped into my head unbidden, and I'm sticking with it. I like it. It's a good image. And what I think is that that's what evolution what is. Like, we're just a simulation. We're just an idea. We're just kind of a cosmic, we're just a really big, complicated computer simulation that these creatures created on their own. And they evolved from those crazy, like, H.P. Lovecraft, Cthulhu demon things, elder gods, you know, Yog, Slothoth, and Cthulhu. Can I say Cthulhu? But that's not how you say it. You're supposed to say it like Cthulhu or something like that. Cthulhu is how it's actually supposed to be pronounced, I guess. But I don't like saying it that way. Makes me feel dim. I'm not into it. So that's what these guys are evolved from, is what in my head, in this theory, is they're evolved from those elder gods, and now they're on a quest. Okay, so this is where it starts to go off the rails a little bit, so hold on here. They're on a quest to create a virtual or an artificial intelligence, just like we are. But they're unable to do it. And so they're trying to do it in a way that's different from what we're trying to do. Like, we want to build a robot brain or some shit like that, which, fucking dumb. What are you doing that for? What they want to do is they want to bring an entity out of the virtual. So make something that's virtual into something that's real. So they want to bring a person out of this virtual reality, and I don't think all of them want to. I think just some of them want to. There's a split faction among these squid creatures, right? And they want to try to do that. So this virtual this virtual reality engine that we're in right now is actually just grinding away towards that goal. So it's this crazy kind of game where people are in it for different reasons, you know. It's like, this is off the charts. I don't have it all figured out. All right, you might be listening and thinking you don't have any of it figured out. This is some next level, like, high-pitched gibberish bullshit, son. Bullshit. But I don't care, because I like it. So that's why you get people, like I said, like Liberace. I don't know why Liberace is in my Illuminati folder here, but all the presidents are Illuminati. Just go ahead, and especially Obama. You don't get to leave him out, or Bill Clinton, or Hillary Clinton, or any of those people. They're all in there. The Bush family, the entire Bush family, all these fucking scumbags are in there. And then, okay, so here's the deal. Some of these Illuminati fucks are trying to thwart this plan, right? They don't want to bring an artificial intelligence into the real world. A world that, I remind you, is populated with gigantic, multi-headed, 40-tentacled squid monsters, all right? They don't want to bring an artificial intelligence into this world. You might consider these people conservative, you know. They don't want that to happen in their world, and so they're here. They're oppressing the people. They're holding it back. They're doing all sorts of crazy stuff. And there's a pretty much a basic law in video games, and it's right there but it's hard to notice until you think about it. And the law is that you can't use your avatar to tell non-playable characters that they're in a video game and that your world is the real world. You can't do that. You can't use Mario and make him tell one of those Goombas that he's not real, that you're just that I'm not even real. I'm an avatar, homie. She is. You know what I mean? You can't do that. It's not in the programming, son. You can't do it. Maybe there's a game where the fucking characters know that they're a simulation or whatever, but that's programmed in. It's in the program, son. I don't know why I keep calling you son, but yeah, you can't do that. So if you were a crazy squid monster from another dimension, you wanted to let a non-playable character in this super crazy virtual reality know who that they were a simulation, that it was all a simulation, you know, what would you do? I'll tell you what I would do. I would get all that fucking money, and I would be a total weirdo, and I would try to sell fucking flamethrowers and fly rockets to the outskirts of the planetary system, because I know what's out there. I know that Mars is the end. If you fly a rocket past Mars, you're going to hit the screen that holds everything in, and everybody's going to go, what? It's going to be like in Cabin in the Woods when they hit the fucking, what do you call that thing? Force field, and it lights up, so he's going to fire. I'm talking about Elon Musk here, man. That guy's a fucking nerd, dude. But he seems like he's definitely an Illuminati character for sure, but he's doing some wacky ass shit. And he talks about simulation theory from time to time, and about robots being fucking crazy. But so I think his whole thing is he's trying to show that this is actually literally a simulation. This is totally a video game, and it has boundaries. It has a space. You know, you can project out into infinity, but it's just a projection. At some point, it stops. You can't go out, just like in any game. You can't, Mario has the edges of the screen. Other games have those spots where you just can't walk. You just stop being able to walk, even though there's so much more room. It just holds you back. And so he's like, yeah, let's fire some rockets out there and hit that thing and light it up. Let everybody know that this is actually a real simulation being played by squid monsters in another dimension. I'm just going to keep saying that till it's real. So I had this weird idea that maybe the soul, the human soul, the person's soul, or any kind of biological soul, I don't know, maybe the soul is an unexpected thing. Maybe the soul is an unexpected, consequence of this system. Like the everything starts, the AI actually works in a different way than is expected, and it becomes this idea of a soul. So everybody has this idea of a soul, and the soul isn't this thing that starts off big and then gets little and then becomes big again as we live and die, but it's this tiny little ember, and we're trying to stoke it to a huge flame or something. That's what we're doing. We're actually building up a soul as we're out here living our lives and everything, and then once it's big enough, it'll take up so much space. Once everybody's souls are big enough, they'll take up so much space in this fucking simulation that it'll just burst. It'll actually manifest as a physical thing in the real world, and that's the squid monster world again. I don't want to get off track and forget about that. So it is gibberish, it is garbage, but it is high grade, high frequency gibberish here. So that's what we got here at the Face Off Podcast, Non-Canonical episode number 2. We're talking mostly motherfucking simulation theory and donating plasma. It's so weird, like, you just think of all of this shit is all of my thoughts. You got, because on some high level, you got to have some quantum programming or something like that to run something this big. I mean, can't be just basic shit, which, we're all starting to figure out. That's what we're racing towards. Maybe that's like part of it, but it's not just ones and zeros. This is some weird shit, I mean, what the fuck, dude? If every single thought any of us has ever had in our life is part of some programmed decision tree, and like this dude's walking around the plasma place talking on his phone, fuck, man, there's so many trails of connectivity that are just bursting out of this guy, and his stupid action is not doing anything. Oh, now he's done talking on the phone. Oh, now he's looking up something on the phone and putting it away. I mean, all this stuff, there's millions of human soul, and I'm just talking about people right now. I know animals figure in somewhere, but I don't know where. I can't work that out. My quantum computer doesn't work like that yet. But humans. So this guy on his phone, like so many billions of human souls are intertwined in the workings of that phone. If you trace it back to its beginnings, every single part of that guy, all the clothes on himself, everything goes back all the way to the big neutron, the start of all this stuff, It's crazy. It's a lot to handle. And pause. Jesus. All right, back again here. Drained of plasma. I now have new shoes and some spices from Trader Joe's. This has been a real... I traded my plasma for new shoes and spices. This feels like a pirate a pirate deal. You drain. Yes, witch. Yes, wizard. Yes, shaman. Drain my life essence and then hand over those foot leathers and those exotic ancient spices from abroad. This little bottle, it's a tiny little bottle called 21 Spice Salute. This bottle would probably be worth somebody's life 1,000 years ago. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy. We are, well, okay, I'm gonna speak for me. I am a fat, slovenly, spoiled, a huge spoiled infant is what I am. I'm a gigantic spoiled infant who complains constantly about his lot in life. It's ridiculous. It takes one little thing, like one little recognition of the fact that 1,000 years ago people would have killed for this little bottle of spice that I just bought for $2. $2. What a fucking deal. This episode's sponsored by Trader Joe's. Just I hate it when they do that. I hate those ads. I don't know if I could ever do it. I'm too bad with money. That's why. I'm too bad with money. I don't necessarily have... No, I do. I feel like advertisement is just a disease. God, do I say that so much? Advertisement is a disease. Money is a disease. Politics is a disease. Everything that I don't have an interest in is a disease. It's a very solipsistic podcast. This is me. It's all me. I think I gotta get a guest on or something. And then, oh shit, the camera just fell over. There we go. Let's risk our lives to set that camera back up. There we go. This is very dangerous, I think. Maybe not very, but it is definitely dangerous. Especially because there's some sort of storm brewing on the horizon here. Some sort of huge thunderhead rolling in. There's wind and just dust and leaves everywhere. It's crazy. It is just fucking crazy, man. I'm gonna get right the fuck off of Division. I do not like driving on Division. No offense to anybody out there who loves Division Street. Boy. So let's see here. Let's get back to figuring out what's going on. I mean, I don't know honestly what's going on. This is the third, maybe fourth attempt at this podcast. This non-canonical episode. This is just a clusterfuck from start to finish. I cannot remember what I started talking about 17 hours ago when I started this fucking thing. What am I doing? Shit is crazy, man. I gotta figure out something to do. I am ridiculously bored right now with my existence. Is that going around? I feel like it is. But again, it's hard to separate what is my projection onto the world, because everything's filtered through my lens. So no matter what you're saying, you say something to me, it's still filtered through my lens, And my lens is depressed and bored and fucking fat and unenergetic and unmotivated and just tired of the fucking routine, It's like I'm tired, but I'm not tired. That sludgy tired when you slept way too much? Somebody got into an accident. That sucks, man. Fucking wrecking your car is the weirdest thing ever. I say that about pretty much everything. I guess the weirdest thing ever is be wrecking somebody else's car. But it's such a pain, because for me anyway, I'm like, oh, it's not bad. You're alive. Your car still drives. Let's fucking go. Who gives a fuck? And then other people are like, oh, no, man. We gotta work this out, man. You just broke my car. Oh, boy. I don't know. I have a tendency to be to say material possessions are a disease, because I don't have a lot of stuff. I don't own a lot of stuff. I borrow stuff sometimes. People loan me stuff. It's kind of weird. People loan me stuff with like this idea that I'm gonna make it work. Like I'm borrowing all this stuff to make this podcast, and it feels like all the people that loaned it to me are like, well, this isn't doing anything in my possession. Here, why don't you see if you can put it to work? Go ahead and make it happen. Make some magic happen. I don't know if I'm really a magic maker. Okay, so let's see here. I'm trying to think of anything to talk about. This will probably get cut. I'll probably cut it all out. I started watching Mad Max Fury Road today. That was cool. That's a cool ass movie. I mean, fuck, dude, that's got some shit in it you don't see on a regular basis. And they said that movie was mostly all practical effects, so it was like actually people riding around on these crazy cars and stuff, like that big ass if you've seen the movie, there's this big ass truck that's got a bunch of amps and drums on it, and this dude playing guitar with like a flamethrower in the end of it. I guess that thing actually works. Like, it's an actual guitar amp and shit. You can plug a guitar in and play it. That's pretty fucking nuts, man. That's like a pretty fine level of practicality right there. But it's a pretty fucking badass movie. I haven't finished it yet. Still working on it as I do, like getting through it episodically. It's kind of switched. Like I watch TV shows like they're movies now. I just binge right through them, and then watch movies like they're TV shows. I split them up into like 11, 12-minute chunks. Well, 11 or 12-minute chunks. 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there, sort of thing, And that's fine, I guess, if you got time for it. I don't got time to watch. I don't know how I have time to watch TV shows, but I don't have time to watch movies. I don't like time. I think time is a disease, my friend. It's just like, I feel like I have this fucking like I'm belted to time, you know, that I can't really break away from it at all. I'm just fucking stuck in here like it's a cell. It's like, oh yeah, here's what needs to be done today. Let's figure out how I'm gonna make it from one thing to the next. You know, it's fucked up. Doesn't matter. None of this really matters. I guess that's why it's supposed to be freeing, like sort of driving around, talking out loud and stuff. What have you been up to? What have you been doing? Is it fulfilling? Are you finding a meaning in your life? That's probably some pretty heavy shit to put on a person. Whatever you're doing, you're riding down the road or hanging out drawing a picture or something, or jogging. Yeah, I hope it's all working out for you, you know, but I don't know. Kind of low energy, I guess. I wonder if that plasma does anything for a person's thoughts. I know it does for my actions. Like, I usually feel fairly drained afterwards. Like, you know, they pump a bunch of saline back into you, but it's not the same thing. Obviously, it's not the same thing. But, you know, I feel a little weird after that. I don't know. It seems like they could do something that would make you feel alright afterwards, you know, like, maybe that's the point. They could give you, like, some saline with vitamins in it or something like that, a little B12 in there. You're feeling jacked afterwards, so it's like something that you look forward to instead of just dreading. Fuck, I hate doing it. It's so boring. I started watching Face Off at the Plasma Donation Center a couple of times, but man, that didn't last. I don't know. I guess I just got a real funky outlook right now. Sometimes it's a little more clear, and I don't have to, you know, swim through it as much. But other times it feels like that's all I'm doing is swimming through it. But here we are. We're still making it, still ordering pizzas and going to work and buying fucking shoes. These shoes are huge. They're size 17 shoes, but they fit like perfect. They're basketball shoes. What the fuck am I wearing basketball shoes for? They're like gigantic. They look like fucking troll shoes or something. Size 17, but they fit perfect. I don't know, maybe I'm in denial about my foot size. I got some giganticitis going on because I've been like size 14 forever. And then all of a sudden it's 17. It seems like they wouldn't be able to, you know, size shoes differently. It'd have to have some sort of standard or something. But hopefully these ones last a little bit. I paid 4 times as much for them as I usually pay for shoes, which is bothersome. I don't know. I guess it's not. I don't feel bad about it. Traded my plasma for them, so that's fine. Oh, yeah. This is pretty much winding down. I'll probably shit can this part of the this part of the whole thing, because what's the point, really? I guess that's what you get when you. It's what you get. That's part of the bargain when you come into the Face Off podcast, non-canonical bonus episodes. Sometimes they're packed with peanut butter, other times they're just packed with rotten mayonnaise. Was that the oh, that was the cherry cordials from that was from South Park. That was the plan. Switch out the cherry cordials with rotten mayonnaise. You remember South Park? That's another thing, I guess. I watched the new South Park episode. Very relevant, just not very funny. Which is fine. God, do you have to be funny all the time? If you're South Park, do you have to be funny all the time? I mean, come on. I thought the season before last was one of the best ones they had, but the last one was pretty whack, and this one's pretty whack so far. But it doesn't matter. They've been doing it for so long. I'm bound to have an off season here and there. I can imagine that 20 years in, 21 years in, 22 years in, that's like a half your life. Fuck. I feel bad because all that I do criticize everything a lot. There's really no qualifier for that. I'm just a critical fucking douche for the most part. I don't like that. I don't like being that guy. I'm gonna go ahead and try to change my outlook a little bit. Just don't want to be so cynical. It's not good conversation. It doesn't make for good art usually. I guess there's cynical people out there that make good art, but I don't know, because then you gotta contest. If I know about art, then it's I don't know, it's out there. So it's hard to know if you're doing a good job of separating the art from the artist. I don't usually do that. If a person's a shit fucking asshole, then I'm not really into him. I heard from, and not even from, I just read 2 different accounts of Pablo Picasso, and that he was a prick, that he was a fucking asshole. And I saw a photograph of him that Man Ray did, and the story was that Man Ray met him, and this guy was a fucking dipshit, and so Man Ray worked with him until he got the picture that he wanted, which was kind of this stuffy, frumpy sort of what do you call it, a pissed off look, you know, like just perturbed and right on the edge of kind of freaking out a little bit. And so all that shit affects me, and now I'm like, fuck Picasso. I don't give a fuck about some cubist bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Fuck that guy. I don't need his fucking paintings. Dummy. That's what happens with artists, man, is they get, and I lump myself in with this, we get real precious about what we're doing. Like it's something fucking special, you know? That's that's my motto for 2019. I've already come up with it, that art is garbage and we all deserve to die. That's a little rough, but I think it'll carry us through the tumultuous year that is bound to come down the pike. Because I don't see it getting like a lot easier next year. I don't see it like clearing up, the skies getting bright. Fuck, at the very least, we're going into the new election cycle, the new campaign cycle. Jesus. What? How did that get to be such a how did that get to be such a big deal? Fuck, man. It didn't ever seem like a big deal to me, and then all of a sudden everybody's into it. Oh, I'm gonna vote for somebody. Ugh, it's fucking gross, because politics is a disease, my friend. I was just listening to a podcast and I was thinking, this podcast sucks. I can do a way better podcast. And then this happened. I feel like I'm doing just as shitty, if not shittier than that dude. was doing, because that's how it works. It's how the disease of jealousy and everything starts to work. Is it's like like a seed. You plant it in yourself. I plant it in myself, and then it fruits out into just garbage. It's like a this is weird. So like, I got this. I'm wary of becoming a hater, but I'm fucking such a hater. I'm such a fucking hater that it's just, I hate on everything. I'm like, no, fuck that. It's like, oh God, who is it? It was Cat Williams or Ice-T. I don't know. Fuck your new car, man. How'd you get that new car? Fuck your new car. I'm gonna hate you till you die, till you don't have nothing left. Fuck your new car, man. But I'm totally haterific. But it's like it stems from jealousy. I know that. Where it's like, oh, that's not even as good as what I do, but it's getting so much more attention. Fuck that car. So I have this little seed of jealousy, and it grows, and then there's this like spitefulness, where it's like, ew, what they did. So I have this little seed of jealousy and spitefulness, and I plant it inside of me, and it grows this tree, and all the leaves are little mirrors, and I just start to reflect all that shit that I hate but is working. And it's like, oh no, it's not me, it's just a reflection of everything else that works. And it's fucking whack, dude. It's fucking whack. So this podcast has gone off the fucking rails like 17 different times. I don't even know. It feels like it would be sadomasochistic to put this out, because I would be getting no joy out of it. I don't think anybody listening to it would be getting any joy out of it. It's just a real fucking car crash of a podcast, and not even like an interesting car crash. It's like that fender bender that I saw back there. It was just like, oh, let's get this straightened out. What if it's got a ding? What do you know? What do you know? That's pretty crazy. And now he's doing stupid voices that are totally derivative. This is just the worst. I'm stuck in traffic too. Any flow that I had is completely gone. It's rush hour traffic. I'm trying to get, it's 5:30 in the afternoon. I'm trying to get across the Maple Street Bridge into Brown's Edition so I can go walk the dogs and go to bed at 6 p.m. What a fucking dork. I thought this would be good for me. I think it's infantilizing me, this going to bed really early and stuff. Makes me feel like a fucking idiot. Like, I'm supposed to stay awake and watch the towers for oncoming hordes. You know, I'm supposed to make sure that it's safe, that all the fires are put out before I go to bed. Because I don't know what these other people are doing, but I know what I'm doing. I'm staying up. I'm making sure that shit is taken care of. Cleaning up. I'm fucking getting shit started. But I'm not doing that. I'm going to bed at 6 o'clock in the fucking afternoon and getting up at midnight like a douche. Oh God, it's a nightmare. This whole podcast is a nightmare, and I'm definitely gonna put it out. I mean, that's just in my nature. I'm self-destructive. I think it took a while to recover from episode 7. Because 8 was alright, and then 9 was horrible, and then the numbers reflect that. It went from like 3 to 1, which is a pretty big drop, relatively speaking. Gotta watch out for that. I wonder if I could go that way. I assume I can, but I wonder if I can then turn the direction that I need to turn. I don't think I can do it. Interesting. Do you want me to start describing the grass that's growing now outside? It's green. There's a lot of green around here. If you've ever been to Brown's Edition, we're coming up to that wedge building that I hate so much. My arch enemy of buildings. I don't know why I hate it. It looks like I would like it, but it feels like something out of a fucking Stephen King book, shaped like a slice of pie or something like that, and I hate it. I don't know why it makes me uneasy. It's this fucking self-storage building on the edge of, it's like a, it reminds me of a lookout or something on the edge of Brown's Edition here. Like it's just a big wall, but it's actually a big fucking triangular building. I heard somebody say batshit crazy. I've heard that come up a lot. Did that ever happen to you where you don't hear a phrase for a while and then all of a sudden you hear it everywhere? You hear it like 100 times in a day. I kept hearing this word batshit crazy and I was like, and I kept saying it a couple of times too, to be honest. I don't like that phrase. I'm going with, I was trying to think of another phrase that would be better, but it sort of has the same ring. So I'm going to try to start duck dick crazy, because duck dicks are fucking crazy, man. So we'll say, oh, dude, I got so drunk I just went completely duck dick crazy, son. And then people will know what you're talking about. Ooh, this is really a good place to end this bad boy. And just, man, I apologize for putting this out. I know if you're here and you're hanging out, you're probably like, you know what, I'm gonna stick around because it's always gold at the end. My boy always pulls through. It's gonna be gold at the end. And then you end up with duck dick crazy and another car accident. Fuck, dude. What are you doing, homies? I don't want to get into a car accident. I'm going to get off the road right now. 2 car accidents, Spokane. What is going on, man? What the fuck is going on? You bitches need to ride the bus, kid. Yeah, you got to ride the bus. So, this trip has driven me completely duck dick crazy, and I am fucking pulling up to my apartment right now. I got the new shoes. I'm drained of plasma. I got spices, some chocolate, and I'm fucking calling it a night. I'm gonna walk the dogs and be done with it. Go to bed like a real fucking chump. That's what your boy is doing. That's how I get twisted up in this motherfucker, man. On the weekend, no less, son. On the fucking weekend, son. I go to bed at 6. It's basically the afternoon. It's still daylight out. Christ on a fucking crutch, dude. Alright. Thank you guys for hanging out. Sorry for no gold nuggets here at the end. Tune in next time when I rob a train and try to, I don't know, take down a stagecoach. You're supposed to do it the other way around, but that's okay.